Tonight, out the door, Suella Braverman quits as Home Secretary as Truss's troubles at the top show no sign of stopping.
She says she's concerned about the direction of the government. Also making the headlines, the cost of living crisis. Inflation pushes up to 10.1%. Pressure is on paying prices like never before.
It's not really fair. You worked hard all your days and then all of a sudden you're struggling.
Coming up short, Glasgow's Great Scottish Run fails to measure up to its required length, meaning Ailish McColgan's record-breaking 10k is no more.
And world class, Dunoon Grammar is voted one of the greatest schools in a global competition. I'm Kellyanne Woodland in Edinburgh.
And I'm Emma Cameron in Glasgow. This is the STV News at 6.
Good evening. The UK government is in fresh disarray tonight following the resignation of the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman. It came as the Prime Minister tried to embolden her position at Prime Minister's questions by confirming that the state pension will increase by 10% next April.
However, she did not commit to uprating benefits as the Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer ridiculed her for a whole series of policy U-turns. She declared she was a fighter, not a quitter, a quality she will need as her government faces fresh questions about its standing tonight. Well, live to Westminster and our special correspondent Bernard Ponsonby. Bernard.
Well, the Home Secretary has resigned. The reason: she sent a government document from her personal email account to another colleague. That is against the rules. That is a breach of the ministerial code. She has gone. Grant Shapps will be the new Home Secretary. But in her resignation letter, she's taken aim at the government, making it clear she disagrees with whole swathes of government policy. Question: how many more ministers may well take her lead and resign? Well, the day started with the Prime Minister attempting to shore up her authority as she faced MPs at Prime Minister's questions. Here is how the day panned out.
Is this your last Prime Minister's questions?
A Downing Street exit and to Prime Minister's questions, and the need for a performance to ensure a future exit is not permanent. With her growth strategy dead, buried by the new Chancellor, the Labour leader derided a series of recent policy U-turns.
45p tax cut, gone. Corporation tax cut, gone. 20p tax cut, gone. 2-year energy freeze, gone. Tax-free shopping, gone. Economic credibility, gone. And her supposed best friend, the former Chancellor, he's gone as well. They're all gone. So why is she still here?
I am a fighter and not a quitter. I have acted in the national interest to make sure that we have economic stability.
The SNP demanded to know if the triple lock in pensions would be honoured. Ian Blackford got an answer that provided the main headline of today's exchanges.
Can the Prime Minister perhaps turn to her Chancellor right now, get permission to make another U-turn and commit to raising the state pension at the rate of inflation?
Yeah. Prime Minister.
I honestly don't know what the honourable gentleman is talking about because we have been clear in our manifesto that we will maintain the triple lock, and I am completely committed to it. So is the Chancellor.
So, pensions up next year by 10.1%, but no such commitment on benefits and a possible backbench revolt in the offing. Today was about the Prime Minister attempting to assert her authority. Ex-ministers take to the airwaves as commentators with an analysis which is far from helpful. Even cabinet colleagues, when defending her, sometimes appear distinctly wobbly. And a measure of just how weak the Prime Minister's position is. Leaked comments from a breakfast, not denied, have Michael Gove saying that the Post is now a job share between Jeremy Hunt and the bond market. Mr. Gove also revealed Liz Truss's nickname is the human hand grenade. With that pensions announcement, Liz Truss helped shift the agenda today. For the moment, she hangs on. Just.
Well, Bernard, at PMQs, it looked as if Liz Truss had helped consolidate her position with that pension announcement, and then this resignation late this afternoon. What's the latest?
Well, we simply have to wait and see what the consequences of this resignation are. Suella Braverman comes from the right of the Conservative Party, and if she has concerns about the direction of travel of Liz Truss's government, it's reasonable to assume that other ministers on the right have similar concerns. Will they go? Remember, when the deluge that eventually got Boris Johnson, it started with one resignation, then two resignations, then a collapse of the government. We're not quite there, but we'll simply have to wait and see what happens over the course of the next 24 hours. At the start of the day, the Prime Minister's position was weak. She shored it up a little bit with a competent performance at Prime Minister's questions. And now tonight, a full-scale crisis at number 10. There is something of a sense in which this government seems to stagger from one crisis to another. All around us, it looks as if there's a sort of stench of a corrosive nature about government in the air. A lot will happen tomorrow. The question really is how long can Liz Truss survive?
Indeed, Bernard. Many thanks for that. Well, the news of economic turmoil continues as inflation increased to 10.1% in September, meaning prices are rising at their fastest rate for 40 years. The rising cost of food is still the main driving force behind the increase, as well as clothing and footwear.
As inflation goes up, it means our money doesn't go as far as it used to, and that leads to a real terms pay cut when it comes to salaries and living expenses. Well, our reporter Ivana Holland has been looking at the impact it will have on the public's purse strings.
Sending the bowl off with the hope of a good return. But can the same be said for the people here at East Lothian Indoor Bowling Club when it comes to the money in their pockets when inflation has hit such a high?
You've worked hard all your days and then all of a sudden you're struggling. Just
normal weekly shopping. Even going to some of the cheaper supermarkets, it's still going up £2, £3, £4, £5 a week.
More economy, buying the cheaper stuff rather than the dearest branded stuff. Energy, like we just put more jumpers on.
The target rate of inflation for the UK is 2%, but with today's announcement that it's at 10.1% shows that's clearly wide of the mark.
Rising food costs is the main driver behind the increase, and that's hitting the budget of this community pantry in Dalkeith. Their electricity bill has already tripled. Demand for their services up, but their money isn't stretching as far.
When I went to sort of restock, everything was going up by 2 pence, 5 pence, and now it's going up so much more, by 10 pence, 20 pence. Something that was costing me about 60 pence, about 6 months ago is now about £1. So it's, really everything has, all our budgets have become tighter.
Cafe owner Kasia says when she sat down to make her business plan last April, she never could have envisaged the challenges she's facing. The knock-on effects of the rising cost in food, fuel and energy are taking their toll on her bottom line.
The inflation fits everyone, not only the business but also the staff. So as a business owner, I want to pay fairly, but because I have so many increases in the other areas of the business, I can't offer them the pay rise, which I would love to do. It's just really hard.
There's a warning that inflation is expected to increase, and that will be a concern when it comes to Christmas spending.
Charities and so on will be worried about people really falling into destitution over the winter months, and also that people will be building up too much debt and credit in order to just get through the period.
This high rate will be used to calculate how much some benefits and state pension should go up by in April next year. So its impact will be felt for some time to come. Ivana Holland, STV News.
Well, we heard earlier from Bernard that the Prime Minister has committed to increasing pensions in line with inflation. That's after some Tory MPs raised concerns the manifesto pledge could be ditched.
Well, while it's good news for some, the increase won't come into force until April. Polly Bartlett has been to meet one pensioner who says she can't wait until then.
Every week I make a list and I go to the supermarket and I stick to that list because I know I have X amount of money that I can spend in that supermarket.
Counting every penny isn't something Margaret is used to. But these days her pension doesn't go far at all.
There have been times when I've been to the supermarket and I've thought, oh, that looks tasty, I might try that. And then I think, no, you can't have that because you don't have the money for it. But I've never had to do that before. Things are getting harder and harder.
Margaret and her husband Willie both worked from the age of 15. When they retired, 2 pensions were just about enough to get by. But Willie died last year, and Margaret is now facing a bleak winter alone.
That morning that he went, my life just shattered. Absolutely shattered. Everything he did and everything he earned was for me and the kids. It's no fair that you go out to work and can't afford to live.
News that the government will stick to their triple lock promise does come as a relief. But with a quarter of her monthly pension going solely on energy bills, making ends meet is still a worry.
Can I switch my heating on? Can I go to the supermarket and buy a week's shopping without having to scrape round about and look for the cheapest thing? Because it is no fun in this day and age being a pensioner. Not at all. Or having to choose between heating and eating. And never in my 68 years did I ever think my life would come to this.
With soaring prices, there is a risk this winter that more pensioners will fall into poverty in what should be their golden years. Polly Bartlett, STV News in Kilmarnock.
OK, on to other stories across Scotland now. And Loganair has reported profits as its owners seek to find a buyer for the Glasgow-based business. The airline operator had posted 2 years of losses during the pandemic, but has now recorded pre-tax profits of nearly £5 million.
We managed to achieve a 2-year pay deal with all of our employee groups back in April of this year, and we've been topping that up as well with additional help with the cost of living with one-off payments to them. For as long as that's the right thing to do, there's a need to do that, we will continue to do that. We've got to look after our people, they're the essence of our business.
Princess Anne paid a visit to Kirkintilloch earlier to mark the conversion of a boat that will be used for disabled groups. The Princess Royal unveiled a plaque and spoke to crowds from the Seagull Trust vessel, which will help provide barge trips on the canal for those with additional support needs.
COVID has made it very, very difficult, both for the Trust and for those who enjoyed coming on the boats. So I rather hope that this indicates that they can get back to doing what they do best, which is to provide a real change, an opportunity to engage with others.
Now Ronnie's here with all the sport.
Get your fill of the action. STV Sports, sponsored by Papa John's Pizza.
Yes, a very good evening. Commonwealth champion Ailish McColgan admits she's disappointed her record-breaking 10k in Glasgow will no longer stand after the Great Scottish Run was 150 metres shorter than it should have been. It's the second time the course has failed to measure up to the correct length, as Fraser Nicholl can now explain.
This moment capped a summer of success. Ailish McColgan returning to Scotland from her Golden Commonwealth Games in Birmingham to break European and British records at the Great Scottish Run. But that now counts for nothing. Organisers are blaming human error for a blunder that meant the 10-kilometre race was 150 metres too short.
The runners were supposed to come off the main road, Paisley Road West behind me, come down Harvey Street, round this corner here and rejoin the route on that side of the square back to the city. Instead, they missed out this whole corner here, went straight down the road there. Not a lot on the face of it, but enough to make Ailish McColgan's record time here null and void.
I was a little bit shocked when I crossed the line in that time, just because to me, as soon as I crossed the line, I said to my partner, I think this is out by 15-20 seconds. But on the day, we obviously queried it, and they went and checked it, and they said, no, all good. It's disappointing, but at the same time, like I knew myself, it didn't quite feel like I'd ran that time. It's just the way it is, and I'm sure I'll have another crack at a fast time next year again.
The Great Run Company declined our request for an interview and have apologised for the mistake, but it's not the first time they've tripped up.
The organisers of Scotland's largest running event have apologised after miscalculating the length of last year's half marathon by almost 150 metres.
Loads of our members did it and they all enjoyed it, and I don't think anyone will be that heartbroken that their times were a little bit faster. If anything, maybe it was an extra motivation for some of the runners. Just raises the standard for next season that they have to work harder to beat that times.
McColgan still has the British and European records as she broke them earlier in the year in Manchester. In Glasgow, organisers say they're reviewing their processes to make sure next year's event doesn't come up short again. Fraser Nicholl, STV News.
To the League Cup, where Motherwell and Celtic are about to get underway in their quarter-final clash. Ange Postecoglou has made 5 changes to his side. Benji Siegrist is in goal. Juranovic, Taylor, Abada and Kyogo also start for Motherwell. The last time they lifted the League Cup was in 1951.
It'd be amazing to get to Hampden. Obviously I've never been there myself, so that's obviously the aim for everyone, and obviously we've got a tough task, but we've got to stay positive, and we're at home, which is a big plus for us, and we've got to, like I said, take our opportunity when we can and try and get the result.
We are excited because that's the first trophy what we won last year, and we want to continue that. We want to bring him home, and tomorrow the winning mentality needs to be there.
That game is now underway. Any goals whilst we're on air, we will keep you up to date. Meanwhile, Kilmarnock booked their place in the semis last night, with the 2 other quarter-finals also taking place this evening. Rangers against Dundee, with Partick Thistle heading north.
The semi-final is there for us to win when we win the game, and to be in Hampden, back in Hampden again. So we want to achieve that.
We're going to have to ride our luck, and any opportunities that come our way, we've got to really make sure that we capitalise on them, and then hopefully, we also have a few Rangers players on an off night.
Players and the fans have good relationships now, and there is a good feeling around the club, and we go there with a lot of confidence, and we won't change. There's no point in us trying to change it, and we'll try and play and pass the ball and try and score goals.
There's at least half a dozen of the Partick Thistle boys who have all played Premier League football, so they won't be daunted at the fact of coming to play at Pittodrie in front of a big crowd. So we have to give them the utmost respect, which we will do.
And in the first of the quarter-finals last night, Kilmarnock secured their place at Hampden with a 2-1 win over Dundee United. Kyle Lafferty scored from the spot before Glenn Middleton equalised for United. Daniel Armstrong grabbing the winner.
You've got to believe you can go again and get to the final, and we've all seen it. If you can get to a final, then anything can happen. So, they'll still be firm favourites, and we won't be one of them. But at the same token, once you get into that last stage, you've got to keep believing it as your year. So that's what we'll try and hang on to.
And the draw for the semi-finals will take place tonight. To rugby now, and after dropping Finn Russell and stripping Stuart Hogg of the national team captaincy, Scotland head coach Gregor Townsend says he took both decisions to help the players reach their full potential. Townsend admits both stars were disappointed with the decisions, but he believes his big calls will make Scotland better as he names his squad for the autumn test series.
In particular, Adam Hastings, who plays outside of Scotland, his form has been very good this season, and we want to reward that. And for Finn, that's what we want him obviously to respond to this challenge.
From me tonight, just to let you know, it's still 0-0 between Motherwell and Celtic. The late news is where it's at for the reaction to that match.
Get your fill of the action. STV Sports, sponsored by Papa John's Pizza.
Now it's over to Philip with the weather forecast.
Watch out for a sudden temperature drop. Blue Hotels, sponsor STV Weather.
As we head through the rest of this evening and overnight, we continue to see the wind strengthening from the south and east, and also the cloud spreading in from the south ahead of this band of showers that's moving through overnight. So overall, a pretty mild night to come. Last night we got down to lows of minus 1.5 degrees Celsius. Tonight, lows of around 7 or 8, and some towns and cities staying in double figures. Now, looking ahead to tomorrow, things turn more unsettled, unfortunately. That frontal system will continue to work its way north and eastwards, dragging with it that band of showers. Some of those will be quite heavy at times as they move through the course of the morning. Some of those banding together to create longer spells of rain. We're also introducing some warmer, moist air, so it does mean that we will see a lot of low cloud, mist and murk around through the course of the afternoon. So overall, a pretty dreich day with temperatures reaching highs of 14 or 15 degrees Celsius. Now, looking ahead to Friday, we start to see an east-west split down at the country. Western areas seeing the best of any drier or sunnier conditions and temperatures reaching highs of 15 degrees Celsius. Further east, though, we're holding on to that thicker cloud and the chance of some further rain and drizzle. By Saturday, the low pressure that's been to the southwest of the country starts to move northeastwards, and that will bring with it some further rain and drizzle across central and southern parts, and temperatures reaching highs of 13 or 14 degrees. Bye-bye.
TUI Blue Hotels, sponsor STV Weather.
And finally, you may think of your school as the best in the world, but for pupils at Dunoon Grammar, they can actually claim that title. They've been voted the world's best school for community collaboration in a prestigious education award.
Yes, they fought off some tough competition from schools in India and Brazil to claim the prize. Our reporter Vanessa Taff found out what makes Dunoon Grammar the best school in the world.
A huge moment of celebration. Dunoon Grammar cinched the title of the world's best school, and it's all thanks to their community work.
It's amazing. Wouldn't have thought it in a million years. I'm so excited. I'm amazed that we won. I'm so happy to be recognised. You know, our school has always been like this. We've always been deep rooted in our community.
We're just the best school, aren't we? Because I feel like Mr. Mitchell's helped us so much be involved with the community, and it's just a great place to be.
We've worked so hard to achieve this award, and to be recognised for our achievement is just fantastic.
School is really important to everybody, and it's a massive thing in the community, and it's just so amazing that we've won. It's mental.
It's just really fun. It's a really fun school.
The school beat off competition from hundreds of others across the world.
It's a dream but didn't dare to dream. This is unbelievable. We're a wee school in a wee rural area in a wee part of Scotland, which is a wee country when you think about it. But it shows you that our kids can stand toe-to-toe with anybody if we give them that opportunity, if we give them that platform, if we continue to build their creativity, and if we have a wee bit of courage to let them loose.
Working with local businesses and charities, the pupils have also been integral to the Dunoon project. It's a world-class outdoor tourist attraction which will regenerate the town.
We have so many opportunities in this town, and I would really recommend that all schools look to their communities and use the expertise that they have out there as part of their curricular offer.
Dunoon Grammar plan to spend their share of the $250,000 prize on a minibus. It'll further help community engagement by providing transport for local people to come to school events such as pantos and elderly lunches.
They will continue to just go from strength to strength. I think they're a confident school. They build confidence and resilience in our young people.
I'm so proud of everybody in the school, the pupils, the teachers and the wider community. Everyone works so hard.
Pupils here now really can say they attend the best school in the world. Vanessa Taff, STV News, Dunoon.
Oh, well done to them. Well, don't forget, Colin Mackay will have all the latest developments from Westminster on Scotland Tonight.
Yes, but from all of us here, enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night.
Bye-bye.